Welcome back to Hope's Homemade Kitchen. Today I'm going to be baking olive artisan bread. Now this recipe comes from my friend Nikki on her YouTube channel, Nicola Recipes. And let's see if I can do her recipe justice. I'm going to be linking her channel below, as well as the recipe and recipe instructions. Let's get started and I'll show you the ingredients. The ingredients for the artisan olive bread are all-purpose flour, lukewarm water, instant yeast, brown sugar, sea salt, paprika, oregano, and pitted olives. I'm using two kinds of pitted olives today, Kalamata olives and black olives. Okay, first thing we want to do is measure out 1 teaspoon of brown sugar into a large bowl that we'll be using for mixing here. And then we'll add our yeast. So that's 7 grams of instant yeast. So we'll mix that up and we'll let it rest for 5 minutes. Now all of these measurements are in grams. The best thing you can do is to have a food scale so that the measurements are exact. Just as Nikki's recipe indicates, I've indicated grams in the description box below. And then there's also some temperature conversions for the oven. So Nikki is in Italy. And so, well, most other countries outside of the US use different temperatures and measurements. So we'll do the best we can today. And I pre-measured out 400 grams of all-purpose flour. And we'll be mixing that in along with the rest of the water as soon as the 5 minutes are up. And Nikki's channel is a beautiful channel. I really hope you check it out. She does a wonderful job with her videos, and even as a bonus, you get to see some of the countryside of Italy in some of her videos, so please do check it out. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, and I did kind of a scatterbrain thing. I started the first loaf, got to the point where the yeast mixture had rested for 5 minutes, and then I forgot to record the rest. So, no harm, I'm going to make another loaf of olive bread. And this time I'll show you all the steps. So we've gotten to the first step where our yeast mixture, or yeast and water mixture, have sat for 5 minutes. Now I'm going to be adding in the all-purpose flour, which is 400 grams of all-purpose flour mixed with 1 tablespoon sea salt. So I'm going to mix that up till it's just starting to blend. So I added 150 grams of water the first time with the yeast. Now I've just added the rest of the water, the other 150 grams. So now at this point, I'll be mixing in my olives. So I've already reserved 2 tablespoons of olives to go onto the top. And we'll be taking this through kind of a pulling and stretching over 4 different phases. I'll be adding in 1/2 teaspoon of oregano into the mixture and 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. Okay, so that's well blended. I'm going to let this rest in a cold oven, which is just an oven with the light turned on and a tea towel on top, for 40 minutes. And we'll let that rise, and then we'll go through a stretching and folding three to four times of stretching and folding each 40 minutes for 4 rounds. Okay, with wet hands, this is the first stretch and fold. 1, 2, this just helps build the gluten in the bread. So now I'm going to let that rest in the oven, put it back in the cold oven for another 40 minutes. Second round. Okay, I have 2 different loaves going at once. This is my second loaf that's going now into its 3rd rise. So it's gone through 2 cycles of rising of 40 minutes each. I'm taking with wet hands, going through and pulling and stretching and folding the dough on itself. It's really looking beautiful. And it is going into its 3rd rise now. Okay, my second loaf is ready to go. It's gone through 3 rounds of rising. Now I'm in my last rise, where I'll be transferring it to a bowl with parchment paper. The parchment paper will act as a sling when I put it into the heated Dutch oven for its bake. So I'm going to go through the final stretch and pull, fold and stretch. It really is a beautiful dough at this point. Okay, I'm going to lift that. First I'm going to sprinkle the parchment with a little bit of flour on the bottom. And I'm putting it in a bowl so it maintains its shape, because you don't want it spreading out before you put it in a pan to cook it. So now remember, we reserved some olives, 2 tablespoons of olives. So I'm going to put the remainder of the olives on the top. And this is going to be an olive-filled loaf for sure. Okay, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of oregano on top. Just whatever to your taste. Now for the final rise, I'll put a tea towel over this and let it rise for another 40 minutes while our Dutch ovens are heating in the oven. I have 2 Dutch ovens in the oven. I put them in a cold oven and turned it to 450 degrees. Now in Nikki's recipe, she put it into a 230 degree oven, and that's on the Celsius scale, so I had to do a little rough conversion, and for Fahrenheit that's 450 degrees. Now after we bake it a little bit, we will be cutting the oven down, the temperature down to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, or in Nikki's recipe it is 206 degrees Celsius. So we'll get to that step, but for now the breads are going through their last rise and we're waiting for the ovens to heat up, and both of the Dutch ovens are in with their lid on at a 450 degrees, so it'll take a bit for them to reach that. So we'll be back. One little step I forgot to do is to sprinkle the tops with a little bit of flour. And I think at this point I'm supposed to do a cut with scissors. Now I'm not sure if that was before or after the rise, but I'll do it now. All right. So it's just a shallow cut, like that. And I'll do it to this one as well. Okay. Now we'll let them continue to rise. And we'll be back when we put them in the oven. So now the Dutch ovens have been in the oven for 40 minutes, heating up at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. So now I'm going to take them out. I'm going to lift the parchment paper. And they're looking beautiful. So now we'll put them in a 450 degree oven. Now, when I was reading Nikki's recipe, she said use the mode of the oven without the fan. So I'm thinking that's without convection. So I'm just going to do normal bake. Normal bake at 450 degrees. And we'll bake that for 35 minutes, and then we'll cut our oven down to 400 and continue baking. Okay, now the timer has just gone off for 35 minutes. I'm going to change the temperature, reduce it down to 400 degrees. And I'm going to remove the lids from the Dutch oven. Oh, those breads look amazing. Show you this. Look at that. Okay, I'm gonna let them cook for, it's probably not gonna need much more, maybe about 10 more minutes. Okay, these are ready to come out. I only cooked them at 400 for an additional 10 minutes, but they're very nice and brown and perfect in my opinion. So now we will lift these over on the cooling rack to let them cool, and then we'll slice into them. I know these are going to be great. Had a little more trouble than I thought I would with parchment paper. But I think that helped protect the Dutch ovens as well. Okay, these haven't cooled for very long, but I definitely want to cut into one. Let's show what this looks like. Oh man. Whew, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Now let's give it a taste test. Whew, look at that beautiful piece of bread. Wow. Now I know what you mean, Nikki. This is awesome and so easy to put together. It just takes a little time. If you plan ahead, you're going to be making a beautiful artisan olive bread. And you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it too. So thank you to Nikki for posting such a beautiful recipe. Hopefully I did it justice. Please go over and check out Nikki's channel, Nicola Recipes. She knows what she's doing over there. I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to do baking. So I want to learn more about baking bread, and she's a wonderful teacher. Thank you so much for joining me on Hope's Homemade Kitchen. Please like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and comment down below, and we'll see you next time.